John Wick has been dazzling audiences for over a decade with a series of precision gun work, technical fighting style, and awe-inspiring action scene blocking. This is a series that hinges on technical mastery with its fight sequences and usually involves prolonged sequences where the camera mercilessly follows Keanu Reeves' John Wick as he constantly shows expert precision with his hands and guns. The deep lore and epic world building of a intricate luxe network of assassins is all set dressing for the main event of Keanu Reeves showing off his fighting skills and expert gun work. Ballerina takes place in this world, but instead of highlighting overcomplicated fight scenes, instead blows the whole thing up with grenades and flamethrowers. Hi, I am Joe from Create Context, and today we're talking about Ballerina, directed by Len Weissman. Ballerina is a side story from the world of John Wick and takes place during the events of the third film, Parabellum. Keanu isn't the main star of this movie, and the camera is turned instead on Ana de Armas as Eve, a young woman on a revenge mission to avenge her father from a lawless group of killers who murdered him and tried to take her hostage when she was a child. It's an interesting premise, but one that feels a little too melodramatic for this world. The John Wick series famously began with the murder of John Wick's dog, a killing that brought the world's deadliest assassin, the Baba Yaga, out of retirement and back for revenge. That setup is one that firmly anchors this series into a certain realm of unbelievability that is both fun and easy to digest. Wick is a deadly, dangerous man, one whose name strikes fear in the hearts of anyone who knows of his handiwork. As the series continues, becoming larger and more epic in scope, it always feels fun to remember that this all began because someone killed this man's dog. It's not an epic revenge plot for a fridged wife or avenging a family member. The spark that ignited this fire, a fire that would demolish entire buildings in New York City and have one man taking on a centuries-old assassin syndicate, was lit with a bullet to the head of a sweet, innocent puppy. The first two films in the franchise stayed mostly grounded, only hinting at the larger underground network of killers seemingly filling every street corner of the earth. It wasn't until the third film, Parabellum, where we get a true sense of the breadth and the lore of all the proper nouns that have been mentioned in the John Wick franchise. This film is used as a brief framing device for Ballerina, and this actually works out pretty well. It's impossible to set a film in the world of John Wick and not wonder where John Wick is during that movie. Unfortunately, John Wick, during this movie Ballerina, is off having a much bigger adventure in a much better film. Ballerina isn't a bad movie, but it never lives up to the highs that the series is known for. Ana de Armas is doing a fine enough job playing the role of a young child left orphaned and taken in by the Ruska Roma, an assassin agency that also trains young women to be ballerinas for no other reason than it seems to be a cool aesthetic. And that's fine, especially for this franchise, one that hinges on stylish action sequences set against exploding glass and bathed in deep neon lights. Where Armas, and Eve for that matter, fail is her technical mastery of assassin techniques. Eve always feels out of her element. There's a brief montage towards the end of the first act where Eve is going through her training. She starts off poorly, repeatedly failing during her dance, getting thrown around during mat training, and repeatedly getting shot during a faux extraction mission. She then slowly gets better and better until she is able to competently achieve every task ahead of her. You know these montages, you've seen a movie, but here, even towards the end of the montage when she's capping heads and dropping guys twice her size on a mat, it never feels believable. Her first mission, one that puts Armas in this sexy red dress and high heels on an iced floor, should be thrilling and sexy, but instead just feels flat. Eve never has the upper hand and stumbles through the entire fight sequence. She eventually emerges victorious, but not in any way that would make us think she's ready for her new day job, let alone to take on an entire assassin organization by her lonesome. This film seems to understand that as well, as it quickly stops giving her the traditional John Wick weapons and instead just goes for full carnage. Eve's weapon of choice for the remainder of the film aren't well-placed hands and expertly shot pistols. It's lazily tossed grenades and flamethrowers blasted indiscriminately. Ballerina lacks the precision of John Wick and instead chooses to lean into full chaos. It's a choice that makes each fight sequence a larger-than-life spectacle, but one that feels painfully separated from the sequences we are used to in the John Wick franchise. John Wick himself leaves a big hole in this movie that feels even bigger based on his various appearances throughout. Whenever Keanu is on screen, it adds a glimmer of excitement and aura of mystery that, instead of elevating the rest of the film, just makes us miss the moments that he's not on screen. Ana de Armas is fantastic. She's a great actress, and she can certainly lead a movie, but I don't know if she was the best choice for this film or this franchise. Keanu Reeves has famously trained for years to become an expert in certain fighting styles and gun mechanics. This training is on full display in the John Wick series, and it's one of the reasons why the franchise is so great. Armas doesn't have that extensive knowledge, and it shows in this movie. I would have preferred an actress who could have come into this role with at least something close to the same enthusiasm about real-life fighting techniques and shooting mechanics as Keanu, but I also know that is a huge ask. Every other part of her performance is great for a film like this. There is a level of melodrama and broodiness that is necessary for a movie which posits the existence of seemingly thousands of well-trained, highly paid assassins across the globe. Armas nails that, even if the framing device and action sequences leave a bit to be desired. Ballerina is a fine movie, but it's just nowhere near as special as the Keanu-led John Wick films. And this may be a problem for the franchise going forward. Keanu is only one man and can't exist in every TV show or movie spin-off that the series has to offer. They are eventually going to have to branch off into more side characters if Lionsgate wants the series to continue, but I don't think there is much of a future for a John Wickless John Wick universe. The lore and the world built around John Wick, it's very cool, but in the same way that the world and lore around a video game is cool. It's only cool in the context of the combat sequences happening around it. Without these action set pieces, there isn't anything that carry an entire movie. I really like the John Wick franchise, specifically the third one that dives deeper into the lore of this world, but what I really love about that movie and kind of the rest of the series is how little time they spend between action sequences. The lore and world building all take a back seat to the action spectacles, and without those spectacles, the silliness of this world becomes all too real. If you're a fan of the John Wick franchise, then you will probably dig Ballerina, but just don't expect John Wick level action set pieces. Without the Baba Yaga as the central character, Ballerina is just a mediocre assassin inside a mediocre movie. Thank you guys so much for watching this weekly movie minute. I'm going to be back again soon with the Phoenician Scheme, and then I'll be back again next Thursday with a normal weekly movie minute. I'll probably be putting Criterion 40 on hiatus for a little bit just because it's summer and there's a lot of big movies coming out, and I want to try and do more reviews of those. So thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I'll see you guys next time.